And we're going to jump right into the big story tonight, which brings us back to our homelessness crisis, right in the forefront, as it really always has been. It's about a comment from Portland Mayor Ted Wheeler during an interview with the editorial board of the Oregonian. The mayor said the city and county together haven't done enough to get houseless people off the streets and into shelters. And if that doesn't change, the mayor says Portland's partnership with Multnomah County is over. Maggie Vespa takes it from here.
Safe, stable housing is critical to maintaining the public's health.
Mayor Ted Wheeler threatened this week to pull the city of Portland and its tens of millions of dollars in funding out of the Joint Office of Homeless Services, an office the city currently runs with Multnomah County. The threat came during an endorsement interview with the Oregonian's editorial board Monday. Wheeler is up for re-election in November against opponent Sarah Iannarone. In Monday's interview, the mayor said he wants to zero in on housing the chronically homeless, those seen living on the streets downtown. As part of that focus, he said he wants to open 300 new shelter beds in Portland by November. If county leaders can't or won't follow suit, he told the paper the city of Portland will go its own direction. Basically, he's arguing the joint office needs to be more aggressive in getting people out of tents around the city and into safer shelters. Multnomah County Chair Deborah Kafoury called the mayor's threat outrageous.
When did you learn that Mayor Wheeler was considering pulling the city of Portland out of the partnership that is the Joint Office of Homeless Services?
I learned that the mayor had said in his Oregonian interview yesterday that he was considering pulling out of the Joint Office. So I learned it from the Oregonian.
Here's some background. The city and county formed the Joint Office in 2016 as a way to streamline the work and funding both were already pouring into housing. The Joint Office's 2021 budget is $75.2 million. The city and county are each footing just over $32 million of that. While much of that money goes toward providing affordable housing for families, veterans, and other groups, the Joint Office currently provides 1,400 beds in homeless shelters year-round. Officials estimate just over 2,000 people are sleeping on the streets in Multnomah County, and they believe that number is rising thanks to job losses during the pandemic.
And I think that's the thing that's so frustrating for me in this is knowing that on any given night, 12,000 people are in a home because of the work that we've done. And that any talk of dismantling the Joint Office is going to scare folks, and people will fear for their lives.
Mayor Ted Wheeler has often trumpeted the Joint Office's success. The push for 300 beds started about a month ago when he promised to help businesses struggling in downtown.
Whether it's helping support businesses that have had uninsured losses, whether it's sharing the cost of helping to clean the graffiti.
In a statement Wednesday, the mayor's comments about the Joint Office were softer, writing, "I am prepared for an honest and transparent conversation about where we are collectively succeeding and where we aren't." Chair Kafoury says officials were already working to open hundreds more shelter beds. About the mayor's threat, she added,
"That's not a campaign strategy that I think is going to work."
And speaking of, the mayor's opponent, Sarah Iannarone, sent us a statement. It reads in part, "I stand with Chair Kafoury and the thousands of houseless individuals who benefit from the Joint Office of Homeless Services. Houselessness impacts all of us, and this is no time for political games."
Okay, Maggie Vespa joining us now. So part of this to me sounds a lot just like politics, but if I were one of the thousands of people relying on some of the things that are provided through this partnership, I'd be very concerned that they could be going away. So is that concern valid right now?
So at this point, I guess it's fair to say there's no definitive answer to that. The mayor said what he said. That said, Chair Kafoury told us she does not see the city backing out of the Joint Office of Homeless Services. She does not think this is going to happen. And one reason for that is that those hundreds of beds were already, she said, in the pipeline to be opened. They just hadn't made a public announcement about it. And she told me that she does think that that could happen by November. All that said, again, if the city does back out of the Joint Office of Homeless Services, no one we talked to today knows basically how that would work, how these functions would work moving forward, which agency or which governing body would take which shelters or which services. There's just no plan for that at this point. So that's kind of where we are. But if it helps alleviate people's stress, she doesn't see this happening.
Okay. Did Deborah Kafoury speak to the mayor about his comments, about what he said?
No, she said she had not talked to him yet. She also pointed out, and this is something that we've known covering the joint office, the Mayor Ted Wheeler, has been in charge of Portland's housing bureau for years, meaning he's been part of the team that decides how the joint office spends its money. So she said that was kind of a big reason why she was so surprised by this public threat. And again, she said it was the first time that she had heard that, because this is coming from somebody who's been part of the group that decides, again, how the joint office functions. And in his statement today, I do want to point out, because that second statement came out, he says he will continue to prioritize livability and public safety. That said, he didn't want to do interviews today. So that was kind of what we got from him. That full statement is at kgw.com. Also worth noting, the Oregonian's editorial board, and again, remember, that's the whole reason why this interview happened. They have not decided who they're endorsing in the mayoral race yet. That is due out October 4th. So we'll be watching for all of that as well.
All right. Maggie Vespa, thank you.